Spec 8209 on.
StarCraft tournament. How many people are going to show up? A dozen? Like 13 maybe? Oh, a couple thousand? Well, that was close. But yes, we're into the Pro League finals here, the biggest event of the year. The players, their top priority is always Pro League, and this has been going on since 2008. So this is absolutely ridiculously high stakes here between Hwaseon Oz and SK Telecom 1, starting it off with probably the best set of the night, could be the best set of the night, between Fantasy and Jaedong, the two guys who I think are each other's kryptonite. Because Fantasy has taken down Jaedong quite a few times, but Jaedong has taken down Fantasy when it's really counted, and it really counts right now. I'm joined with Ranch and DA, and we're going to duel this entire thing, possibly 7 games. This is a best of 7 format here, so the first to 4 wins the whole thing. And by the way, this is the first round, too. There's going to be another round tomorrow. Here we go. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Outsider is the map. So epic. Okay, let's get the colors and positions. Looks like Fantasy is purple, Jaedong is teal. So that means that Fantasy is down here at the 5 o'clock position in purple, and up at the 2 o'clock position in teal was Jaedong. Go Oz!
Go Telecom T1, bitches! Nuke, shut up. So yeah, we have this awesome set to look forward here, and you're going to be not just hearing the two of us bringing you the usual hilarious, awesome dual commentatage. We're also going to be arguing quite a bit because I'm rooting for Telecom and he's rooting for Oz. We don't care. Usually we have to be impartial. We don't try to root for people, but we don't care here. Oz took down CJ. I want revenge. I wanted CJ against Telecom in the finals. So screw Oz. I hope they lose. I love Jaedong, but basically everybody else on the team I do not like. So screw them hard. May they lose. So, let's see. But this is the matchup I'm the most looking forward to by far. Fantasy versus Jaedong is like one of the most interesting matchups to watch. Nuke and I have commentated, dueled some of them. One of our first dual commentators was actually between these two guys when Jaedong just completely crushed Fantasy with, at the time, his very innovative Queen build. But since then, Fantasy has been going straight up mech, so Queen is not really very viable. Well, not straight up mech, more like weird-ass mech into Medic Marines, into everything but nukes and ghosts. But I wouldn't even be surprised if he pulled that out of nowhere. So yeah, for start out, he did put up a Rax to kind of do a kind of partial blockade, actually putting a second Rax on top of his ramp. That's kind of interesting thing. He's going a very aggressive 2 Rax build. Well, Jaedong's actually going for a 12 hatch. So looking at the beginning, it looks like Jaedong's going to be hard-pressed to defend against the hard pressure that's going to be coming up from Fantasy right out of the bat. Now sending out his SCV scout very soon. Probably going to go in the right direction, but he spotted the Overlord running down, and Jaedong instantly going to send his drone in that direction as well and spot this 2 Rax build.
Yeah, this is a very aggressive build from Fantasy, and something I really wouldn't have expected from him on this map. You usually don't think of Fantasy as a Medic Marine, a sunken push type of player here, but that's what he's going for. He's going to try to go for a sunken bust. He might be going for a bunker here, actually. He's hovering his SCV around. I'm not sure if he's actually going to go for the bunker rush here, but Jaedong is going to be prepared. He has some drones out here. He sees that SCV, so he knows this is a little bit suspicious. He's just going to hover his drones around and make sure that the bunker can't come up. So even if Fantasy doesn't get the bunker done here, if he doesn't get some damage done on that hatchery, I don't think it'll matter too much because he's making Jaedong pull a lot of drones off the line. Jaedong chasing down the SCV and a couple of Marines here, but Fantasy's going to have some backup Marines in here very soon. Jaedong trying to surround the Marines, taking out one of them, but loses a drone of his own. He's got to fall back here, and I hope that his spawning pool is coming up at this point because he's definitely going to need Zerglings to fight this off. And Fantasy's still pushing here. He's still going to try to put on a lot of pressure and maybe eventually build that bunker. He's trying to keep the drones away, and I think, oh man, a sunken colony coming up for Jaedong. He's kept most of his drones alive, but And Fantasy at this point, I think, might be falling back, or he might be just grouping up more of his Marines here. Jaedong coming out finally with his Zerglings, so yeah, I think that Jaedong will be able to fight this off now, but Fantasy's still pushing. Fantasy, even with a sunken colony in here, he's still building the bunker. This is absolutely aggressive play from him. I think it kind of took Jaedong off guard a little bit, because Jaedong looked a little bit surprised there when he just pulled off his drones and he's surrounding everything, and Jaedong does get rid of this attack, and he has a sunken in there, so I don't think the bunker is going to be able to come up.
Beautiful counter there by Jaedong, but Fantasy did a pretty good job of holding him off a little bit. You saw that Jaedong have pulled most of his drones. He only had 4 drones mining minerals. Still has a lot of drones, very few drones at all. Only 1 single drone mining minerals at his main, and just a few mining minerals at his natural expansion. Just went straight for the gas. This time, Fantasy actually using this opportunity to put down his command center, equal his economy right now. And I gotta say that honestly, despite the fact that he lost in this, if he did not manage to build a bunker, he's done more damage to Jaedong than Jaedong would have wanted, because it's gonna take him a little while to build his economy up. He was forced to put down a sunken colony, was forced to get Zerglings out there very quickly, forced to fight with his own drones. Fantasy now has 2 racks that he's not even producing from at the moment. He just has enough Marines on his ramp to build, sent out yet another SCV scout, and Jaedong meanwhile going for the lairs. Also could get a little tech delayed, in fact. Zerglings aren't going to be able to meet that SCV, probably pick it off before it manages to do anything else on the field. Actually going to run up south, Jaedong just spreading a few of his Zerglings around, but Fantasy is going to be able to equalize the position here. Actually going for an academy, so he's going to go straight up Medic Marines, kind of a change-up. Maybe he's feeling that, if he plays his regular Fantasy build, Jaedong's already seen it, so he has to do something different. Let's just hope he doesn't run straight up into Queens yet again. Jaedong going to move downwards a little bit, Zergling's going to spot that big defense in the ramp, so Jaedong's not going to manage to do anything until he gets Mutalisks on the field, and I think that's going to go for it. It's been kind of his bread and butter lately, especially against Fantasy and other Terrans, especially on this map. I think every Zerg player has to go Mutalisk, is almost forced to go Mutalisks, but this map really allows very heavy and extensive Mutalisk play, so we're just going to see how Fantasy counters that as soon as that starts to happen.
Yeah, that's what I love about Outsider. You never see a quote-unquote standard game on Outsider. You see, Fantasy is getting rid of those Zerglings out front of his base. He has a lot of Marines, and he's probably pumping medics at this point, getting STEM research there. So he's going to go for a sunken bust very soon, and I'm really not sure if Jaedong has enough sunkens to deal with this. I think he might want to think about putting down one more, seeing as though one of his sunkens is very badly damaged. I think Fantasy will be able to break that if he does push with a couple of medics coming up here. The Spire coming down for Jaedong, and he's putting down another base, so he's transitioning into a standard 3-hatch Mutalist build here, and Fantasy, it looks like, is prepared. Fantasy is putting down his engineering base, so he's going to have turrets prepared. A very early Queen's Nest for Jaedong, so he could be going for a kind of luxury strategy to eventually take the double gas and just go for Guardians and Ultras. We'll see if that's what Jaedong has in the cards here or not. He is finally putting down more sunkens, so I actually don't think that Fantasy is going to be able to break here, even with STEM and a lot of Marines here.